Welcome to another edition of the Nightly Nuge. Shemane, I love the concept, faith and family with Shemane, but one of the things that you're best known for is fitness. And you think that plays a big part in the overall health, mental, physical well-being, and patriotism and everything. How's it tie in, Shemane?
Well, unfortunately, the United States is one of the unhealthiest nations in the world. And we've got all the conveniences possible. We've got apps for weight tracking and how many steps you walk. And we've, of course, got pharmaceuticals the drug companies are making trillions of dollars a year on the weight loss industry. And meanwhile, do you know, Keith and Ted, 2/3 of Americans are overweight and obese, and it's setting us up for tragedy after tragedy. You know, we had 9/11. We lost 3,000 people, but every few days we lose 3,000 people to being overweight and obese. And I want to say that I struggled with weight. I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now in high school and in college. So I know what that's like. This doesn't come easy. I exercise every day. I don't run a marathon. I don't run a bunch of miles, but I try to fit in 20 minutes, an hour if I can. I try to do something every day because I know what it's like to be unhealthy. We got sick and almost died from toxic mold between the walls of our home that was once on MTV Cribs. And I was in the hospital for a month. I know what it's like to be unhealthy. I know what it's like to be healthy. And I want to be healthy. And I want to share how to be healthy with other people. So I've got information on my website, ShemaneNugent.rocks, ROCKS. And I also talk about it on Faith and Freedom on my program on Sundays, 10 a.m. on RealAmericasVoice.com.
Real tragedy here, Keith, is what Shemane is identifying is irrefutable, that America is the unhealthiest society on planet Earth, yet we have all the conveniences and all the technology better than any society on planet Earth. Hey, here's the answer to our health problems. Maybe we should have a government agency that monitors, how about the food and the drugs? Let's call it the Food and Drug Administration. Then they can save us from all these poisons. Wait a minute. Oh, if our food is so unhealthy and poisonous and Roundup ready, where every seed of every food product out there is infested with chemicals and insecticides and herbicides, maybe we should have a new agency called the United States Department of Agriculture. Then they could monitor our food production and it would be more healthy. Wait a minute. There is an FDA. And they are poisoning us. There is a USDA, and they are poisoning us. Maybe we should have an environmental agency that would protect us. Let's call it the Environmental Protection Agency. Then they could monitor, and they wouldn't allow people to build all these solar panels that are destroying the environment and have slaves in Africa and China of little boys and girls who work for a bowl of rice a day and create these wind turbines that are destroying the environment, and have electric vehicles that the lithium and the cobalt and the copper and the mining. Wait a minute, we do have an EPA, and the EPA is the enemy of the environment. The FDA is the enemy of food and drug control. The USDA is the enemy of food production in America. We are the fattest, slowest society in America, and General Mark Milley, the commander of the U.S. military, can't do a push-up.
You know,
do I need to say more? We should be ashamed of ourselves. My friends, please, I'm not just going to identify the flames burning your house down. I'm going to tell you how to put them out. When you go to the store, have Mr. Hand pick your food off the shelf and bring it to Mr. Face. Have Mr. Eyeballs try to identify the ingredients. And if Mr. Mouth can't pronounce the ingredients, put it back on the shelf and never buy it again. Hunting, fishing, trapping. It is the only system by which we can provide quality, safe, healthy nutrition for our sacred temple and precious gift of life from God. Now, there are some more and more ranchers and farmers that are going more responsible and getting rid of the genetically modified organisms in our diet, getting rid of the poisons and the Roundup Ready poisons in our food production, but there's not enough of them. Independence. I declare our independence. Shemane is the most dangerous bow hunter in the world. If she even grabs her Matthew's bow, I sharpen my knife because there's going to be some protein hitting the ground. Go to wildlywell21 at gmail.com. Wildlywell21 at gmail.com. Shemane and I have discovered some real natural, pure, organic ingredients. Some of it is called, I took it this morning, called Isogenics. It's a supplement that I'll be 75 this year, and I'm cocked, locked, and ready to rock the Glock around the clock, Dr. Spock. That's no shock. Anyhow, the point being is that this gift of life is sacred. Treat it with reverence. Don't put things in your body you can't pronounce. That's really at the bottom of it. The FDA is the enemy of quality of life. The USDA is the enemy of quality of life. The EPA is the enemy of quality of life. The DOJ is the enemy of quality of life. The CDC doesn't give a damn about your health. They just like their Hawaiian junkets that the pharmaceutical gangsters provide them. Anybody got any questions? Call 1-800-NUMBNUT and Michael Moore will invite you to his next crotch twerking with General Mark Milley at his drag queen festival. This is really an ultimately dangerous time, and who should be in charge? Guess who's in charge of my life? Me and her. Guess who's in charge of her life? Goodwill, decency, positive spirit, responsibility, positive energy, and truth, logic, and common sense. And I'm giving it to you in tsunamis on the Nightly Nuge.
Last point I'd like to make, Shemane, and I want to tie in something you said on the first day. You talked about the participation trophies. When we were kids, they had the Presidential Fitness Award.
Yes.
And if you did X amount of pull-ups, set-ups, push-ups, you got the gold medal. And then there was the silver, and then there was all the rest of the kids that were wishing that they would have got it. It was a big thing.
Excellence.
But they don't do that anymore. And in fact, much to Ted's chagrin, Victoria's Secret models are now $2.5 bills, and you start seeing they reward unhealthiness and discourage healthiness. Last word, Shemane.
Yeah, it is unfortunate if we don't change soon. We're in for 9/11 on a daily basis, meaning 3,000 people a year dying because of overweight and obesity.
Choices.
And it's common sense, really. If you look at it, I love to eat. I love cookies. I love cupcakes. I love Fritos. I love lasagna. I could go on and on. But I have developed a way to include those things in my life without, giving up too much, but managing it. It's all about balance. And I think if we're only eating fast food, if we're only eating fried foods, if we're only eating Cokes or drinking Cokes and eating junk food, we're going to be in trouble. And we need to change. And it starts with parenting. It starts with what's going on in our schools and how we're feeding our children. It's our job. And you know what? The way that things are going, it wouldn't surprise me in 5 or maybe even less years, we're all going to be dependent on how we procure our own sustenance. And we as hunters and as bow hunters, we're not going to be afraid. We're not going to go a day hungry because we know how to kill it and grill it. But we also know we're so grateful and we revere the animal that God has given to us. And we're so grateful for that. I think if more people had to rely on procuring their own sustenance, we would fix that obesity problem.
Perfect. Well, hey, tomorrow night is the Friday free-for-all. And Shemane, I want you to think about this all day leading into tomorrow night. Some story about Ted that people haven't heard, what rock and roll wise, some story. I mean, give us something new tomorrow night on the Friday free-for-all edition of the Nightly Nuge.
Will do.
Oh boy, hang on, everybody. Here it comes.